like to call to order the business meeting for the Lewis County Board of County Commissioners of Monday, January 22nd. We have a quorum with all three commissioners present. Flag salute. Becky, would you do the flag salute for us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Public comments. All right, we have three individuals. The first one is Leah Bagwell, or Kate. Would you come to the podium and say who you are and where you're from? And you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is Leah Bagwell. I live in Randall, Washington, and I'm a bit nervous.
That's okay.
We purchased our property back in 2013, and we made sure that we had an address and everything. What I'm talking to you today about is the requirements for driveways, private driveways and private roads off of county roads. When we purchased the property, we started improving it. It was completely unimproved. And we got our address, we got our septic, our well, and our power all to our building site. During this time, we were never told of the requirements of development required for a private driveway and private road. We got a bid from a local contractor. It was $3,500 to $4,000 for a nice gravel driveway. When we saved up that money and we contacted him again, we were told that the rules were now being enforced and the driveway itself was going to cost $14,000. Had to have an approach of 14 feet wide, 8 inches deep of 1 1/4 gravel with storm ditches on both sides. Then when I went down to the county to get the permit, they were looking at where our place was, and there's a private road that actually connects to the county road, which is Peters Road. And we were being told then that we would need to upgrade that road as well, and just the rock for that is $90,000.
90?
$90,000, not including the engineering and the inspections for the compression and, of course, the storm drains. And then the last time I spoke to him, he said something about putting compost on the sides of the storm drain, the ditches. I don't have to tell you that this is pretty intimidating. The property is landlocked without this county road. There are other ways that we could go about it, but it would include purchasing more land or right-of-ways. People are being priced out of their homes. Sorry.
That's okay.
I feel like we should be grandfathered. Anybody who is in this situation should be grandfathered back to when they purchased their properties, because otherwise there's no way. I don't know where I am on my time, but
The green light has not come on. So.
the businesses are suffering. Lots of folks are in my same situation. And I know the rules say that if there are 3 addresses per road, that's when all of this mess kicks in. We were not the 3rd address. We were probably the 4th address. There are other barns and gate coverings that have gone in since we've done this, and they were not held to these requirements. I need somebody to look at this and make sure that this is being done right.
Commissioner Stamper.
Yeah, Leah, thank you for being here, too. We've talked on the phone for quite a long time. And I have contacted Lee Napier and also Public Works at the same time. I have not heard back from Public Works yet, but we're still there, though. We just spoke on Friday, so we haven't had time to fully digest this, but we're working on it. And right now, I just talked to Lee Napier this morning a little bit about it, and just kind of gave her some background information. So we are working on it for you, and hopefully we can come up with a resolution on this to not price you out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Thank you very much.
okay, thank you, and thank you for being
Thank
here
you.
too.
Thank you for coming. Ted Jackson.
Hi, my name's Ted Jackson. Well, with the Cowes Basin RV Club. I feel for you. Wow. That's wow. Yes, what I wanted to discuss was the WATV ordinance we've been patiently waiting on since 2014, and where we're at with releasing the SEPA to the public, so public comment can begin on that process. In addition to that, there are some ongoing discussions with the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest to help create a tourism component to recreational ATV riding in Lewis County, and it would be really helpful to have this in place with respect to those conversations going on with the assistance of Congresswoman Jamie Herrera. She promised us a couple of years ago. She's been really good on that follow through. And then additionally, I was hoping that the council commissioners, I forgot what state or county I'm in, would please consider the letter of intent for some legislation that will be heard this week in Olympia to create 6 ATV pilot tourism route projects. And I slipped Lewis County in there and hoping that that would be something the community could support. And if there aren't any questions, thank you once again. And I got 25 people I need to talk to in Olympia.
So could you tell us when is the hearing that you were
This Thursday,
this Thursday at?
3:30 p.m. Yeah, in the Transportation Committee.
Commissioner Stamper, do you want to respond to?
Yeah, well, thanks, Ted, for being here. I know you've been doing work at multiple ends of this, at the federal level and obviously at the state level. So we're doing our part, hopefully, and I know it's slower than what we anticipated. But I think when we had this discussion, probably it was in December. And I think that's when Eric Martin came up and decided, and I think that Larry involved. They did a comprehensive job, as far as I'm concerned, making sure that we wanted to do it right. And I think that was the thing, by putting this SEPA permit, getting that out there and doing it correctly, where it's not going to come back on us to later on, like it did in, was it Okanagan County, I think? So we're going to do it right. And again, I don't know exactly, I haven't talked to Eric about it, but we'll get an update on Wednesday to see exactly when that permit's going to go out. And I know that we do have a draft of the ordinance that I've had a chance to look at, and we have not fully disclosed, or it has not been out to all the commissioners yet. So that's where we're at right now, but we're moving forward.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Okanagan had a few lessons learned, and they have redone their ordinance with cooperation from the conservation and environmental community, and they are progressing forward. So thank you for taking that SEPA step. I think it's important, and obviously Washington state law requires it. So thank you for your adherence, and have a good day. Thank you for hearing me.
Thanks, Ted.
Thank you.
We'll see you a little later, Ted.
Okay. Sean Bell.
Hi, my name is Sean Bell. I'm with RES Americas. I live in Portland, Oregon. And I just came to tell the commissioners where we are on the process in applying for the wind energy facility we call Skookumchuck. We're currently we've met with county planning, and we're in the process of preparing an administrative application, which will, and a shoreline permit, hopefully by Wednesday, which will formally start the application process and the SEPA piece. And then we'll go down the road on that. We're also in discussions with county engineering on the franchise agreement, which is what will be required for the transmission corridor to run down Big Hannaford Road into the Tono substation. Last but not least, and probably most importantly, we're working with the county attorney's office on a cost sharing or cost reimbursement agreement, so that the county is reimbursed with for any costs associated with the SEPA application. So just wanted to let you know where we are and see if you had any questions or if there's anything you guys want to comment on.
Could you remind us how many wind turbines you're talking about?
38. 38 with a total generation capacity of 136.37 megawatts. So
And you hope to have this project done by?
12/31/2018. So if we can get everything permitted and everything constructed, we'll flip the switch on December 31st of this year.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions?
No. Thank you.
all right. Well, thanks very much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. All right.
I move to approve the consent items, the approval of minutes from the January 8th, 2018 business meeting, and also Resolution 18-014, approval of warrants.
Second.
Good morning, Commissioner. Suzette Smith, Chief Accountant, Auditor's Office. Here to present to you Resolution number 18-014. This is the approval of warrants, and this is for the previous 2 weeks due to the holiday, so it is from January 5th until January 18th. So we issued, 417 regular warrants, number 783-383 through 783-441, 783-516 through 783-589, 783-600 through, 783-600 through 783-651, 783-668 through 783-843, 783-868 through 783-916, and 784-024 through 784-032, for a total of $731,716.52. In addition, we had payroll on January 5th. We had 652 combined warrants and automatic deposits. Warrants were number 783-225 through 783-382. Automatic deposits were 1 through 494, for a total of $3,696,381.51. In addition, we note the following sequences of warrants that were issued on behalf of our special purpose districts. Those districts have those approved by their own commissions. Number 783-442 through 783-517, 783-590 through 783-599, 783-652 through 783-667, 783-844 through 783-867, and 783-917 through 784-023. Any questions?
That's a mouthful.
I was going to say.
A lot.
Did you get all that?
Thank
Kim,
you.
did you get all that?
Yes. Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve our consent items, approval of minutes, and Resolution 18-014, approval of warrants and claims against various departments. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. I make a motion to approve deliberation items 18-015 through 18-033.
Second.
All right.
Good morning.
Chief.
How you doing, sir?
All right.
Chief Chris Sweet with Lewis County Sheriff's Office. I'm here to speak to Resolution 18-015, the renewal of prisoner housing agreement between the Lewis County Sheriff's Office and the City of Olympia for the use of our jail facility. This is the last of the 13 contracts that we have for 2018. The one why this is separate from the other ones, City of Olympia took a little while to get this back to us after some minor revisions to the contract. The language itself basically is the same. They had to change some titles, some other information on it. And then this is also a agreement that we changed to a 5% increase in the annual or current daily bed rate for the annual contract. Is there any questions?
Chief, we're still way lower than most of the counties that, even some of the counties we do business with in our bed rate. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. After the last presentation I gave, we did a statewide study through WASPIC. The numbers we have are from 2016. We don't have current data, but it showed that we are below the middle range of our bed rates in comparison for jails in Washington State. So we're looking into that.
Good.
Thank you.
And I do appreciate your meeting with some folks last week to talk about jail medical costs and in particular prescriptions, but that kind of research is really helpful as we look at our budget.
Yes, ma'am. It was good for us too, because we just kind of wanted to see what that baseline was with what we get from our current contract provider versus who else is out there. And it kind of assured us what we have right now is a pretty solid system. So we're pretty happy with what came out of that meeting. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Cancellation of taxes. Treasurer Arnie Davis.
Good morning, Commissioners. Arnie Davis, representing the Lewis County Treasurer's Office, here to talk to you today about our annual write-off of mineral rights and uncollectible taxes. Just as an aside for you, for historical reference, in 2014 wrote off $4,907, 2015 $3,861, 2016 $2,190, and we're asking today to write off $7,256. That's quite an increase, but there's a driver to that. Do you have the sheet in front of you?
We do.
If not, I have extra. Go to the last page. Is it the last page? I think it is. Yeah. At the top of the last page, Fantastic Sam's. We conducted a distraint sale on that in Centralia, and while we were able to collect about $2,200, we only had really two people show up, the landlord and one other person who spent a little bit of money, and those funds did not even cover the cost of distraint and the foreclosure process. So if you take that $4,000 away as comparison to previous years, you're down in that $3,200 range. I guess the rest of it is mineral rights. If you have any questions on any of the specific ones we're writing off, I'm happy to answer those.
Could you just explain that, Arnie, the whole thing about the mineral rights and taxable and why people choose not to?
They don't want them, and they're not going to pay the taxes on them.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't care. If you say that you don't have mineral rights on this property anymore, because they are protected, if you do own the mineral rights, there's a process you have to go through to access those mineral rights, and legal means it has to come across. So people just don't pay them, and it's an annual process we go through to write those mineral rights off.
So it's
And
the
if
same
there is-
ones every year?
Pretty much, not all the same every
2014
year,
it's
but
listed.
yeah, pretty much, yes.
And if there are minerals on there, it's going to cost them a pretty penny to get through their property, isn't it?
Plus the legal things they have to go through and whatnot. It's just, it's something that probably should be looked into to get rid of. But once you did your research on that, you'd say, well, maybe we should leave it in place because we do collect X amount of dollars in mineral rights. So, any other questions?
Thank you, Arnie.
Thank you.
Arnie.
Thank you. All right. Bill.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Wamsley with the Lewis County Weed Control Board, here to talk about Resolution Number 18-017, approving a stewardship agreement number 17-SA-110603000-020, modification number 1 between Lewis County and the USDA Forest Service, the Gifford Pinchot National Forest, for noxious weed management, and authorizing the chairman to sign that agreement. So this is a new stewardship agreement and modification that came about from the Forest Service for us to do noxious weed control work and management on the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest. So we've been working with the forest to get that work done and look forward to doing this work. This agreement goes through December of 2018, December 30th, 2018. And it has been signed by the Forest Service to form, but it still does need signature from the supervisor forest down in Vancouver. So hopefully that'll get done later in the week.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Ms. York.
Good morning, Danette York, Director of Lewis County Public Health and Social Services, and I'm speaking to 4 items on the agenda, resolutions 18-018 through 18-021. The first one, 18-018, is a contract between Lewis County and the Housing Resource Center using our local document recording fees that are set aside for housing programs in the amount of $163,073, and this contract runs from January 1st, 2018 through December 31st of 2018, providing funding to the Housing Resource Center to provide services for people that are either homeless or at risk of being homeless. Questions? The second one is,
Yes.
yes.
For the people in the audience, so when they are going to the auditor's office and they pay that fee, that's this fee, that
Part of it.
recording fee?
Yes.
Is going into this?
That's correct.
And this-
A small portion of every document recording fee is set aside for housing programs within the county.
And that is mandated by?
Mandated by state law.
State legislature.
Correct. The second one is the same thing, except for the contract is with the Human Response Network, and the amount is $62,575, also using the funding from the document recording fees. The third one, Resolution 18-020, is for a contract with our local providers for services for developmental disabled individuals. We receive a contract from the State Department of Social and Health Services, from the Developmental Disabilities Division, and then we subcontract those funds to all of our local providers. Those providers include Reliable Enterprises, Morningside, Lewis County Work Opportunities, WISE, and Compass. All of the providers except for Compass, the contract actually runs on the fiscal year, which is July 1st, 2017 through June 30th of 2018. And this is delayed getting to you because we were delayed in getting the state contract. The contract with Compass is actually for 6 months, January 1st, 2018 through June 30th of 2018. And the total amount of these contracts is $776,029.
And when you said fiscal year, it's the state fiscal year versus our calendar year?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And then the final one, 18-021, is going back to the same as the first two. It's using our local document recording fees, except for this contract is with Reliable Enterprises in the amount of $49,218. Again, this is on a calendar year, January to December 31st, 2018.
All right.
And back to the housing programs.
Since you're
that-
speaking about housing, you want to talk about the Homeless Connect coming up?
The Homeless Connect event is an annual event that's held statewide in all of our counties. We work together with our community partners to make a big event out of it. It will be this Thursday from 10 to 3 at the fairgrounds. And homeless and individuals who are close to being homeless are invited to come out and receive lots of services like free haircuts, they can take showers, they can pick up necessary items that they need. We have lots of vendors, service providers that can enroll them in their services while they're there. It's usually a really well-attended event. And if anyone in the public would like to donate items that can help the homeless individuals that they pick up at this event, they're welcome to drop off items at the Housing Resource Center, Human Response Network, or our office at Public Health and Social Services. Items that are really helpful are like camping gear, tents, sleeping bags, new socks, or hygiene products.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Danette.
Good morning. Excuse me. Tim Murphy from Lewis County Fleet Services. Here to speak to you on Resolution 18-022 through 24, all containing purchases of county vehicles. 18-022 is awarding the bid of 3 new SUVs. In this process, we went out to bid for the SUVs, 7 pickups for Public Works Department, and 6 vehicles for the Sheriff's Department. Just on a quick note, we did not receive any bids back on the Sheriff's Department vehicles, but did receive some on the SUVs and the pickups. The bid for the SUVs, which is 2 smaller Ford Escape sizes, and 1 which is a Ford, a little bit bigger size. We received 2 bids on these small ones, one from Awesome Ford and one from Bud Clary, and 1 bid on the midsize SUV from Awesome Ford. On the 7 new pickups, we received bids from Awesome Ford and I-5 Dodge, both here locally. And this is one where it is proving to be worthwhile endeavor to do this, as between reviewing options we were going to put on the pickups as well, but also overall price. We originally had budgeted $222,000 for this purchase, and we are going to come in at $212,948. So we are seeing some cost savings by going locally.
Yes.
On the third one for the sheriff's vehicles, 18-024, it's kind of just a straightforward what we've done in the past. We didn't receive any bids, so we're going to purchase off of the state contract for all the sheriff's vehicles. Be a little different process in-house. Once we get them, we're doing more. Instead of upfitting here ourselves, we're doing a little bit more of that at the dealership level, coming a little more turnkey, and that was done in meeting with the sheriff's department. Any questions?
Thank you for your
Thank you.
efforts.
How's it going?
It's going good. Enjoying it.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
Tim, how long have you been here now?
I started October 16th, so
Really? That
just
boy,
over 3 months, or right at 3 months.
went by in a hurry. Thank you.
He's doing great, by the way. Eric Martin, Director of Public Works, speaking to Resolution 18-025. Approval of a quitclaim deed by and between Lewis County and Steve Seward for property located at 2126 Lincoln Creek Road in Centralia, and authorizes signatures thereon. So this was a property that Public Works purchased probably in 2016. And we were looking for a site for stockpile and for dumping of waste material out in that kind of northwest part of the county. So we found this piece on Lincoln Creek Road. We determined that we only needed portions of it, and so we parceled that into 3 parcels. We kept 2 of them, and this is the result of that, is the sale of this property to Mr. Seward. So we accepted an offer of $165,000, and so this quitclaim deed would then transfer the property to Mr. Seward. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Mr. Morton. Ms. Napier.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lee Napier, Director of Community Development, speaking on the next few agenda items. Starting with Resolution 18026. This is the approval of a lease assignment at the Ed Carlson Memorial Field, South Lewis County. And it's a transfer from Triple B Enterprises to Jerry Pruitt. So out in the South County Airport. The folks own and build the leases. They lease the land, the hangars. They lease the land from us. And so this is transferring the hangar through a sale and then the lease to another owner. Any questions?
No.
Next resolution, 18-027. And this is a resolution to appoint William Marshall to the Planning Commission. Mike Mahoney, his term came to an end and he could not be reappointed, so we had an opening on the Planning Commission, and Mr. Marshall expressed an interest to fill that position. So he will be appointed by the board and will be attending his first meeting tomorrow. Next agenda item, resolution 18-028. So this resolution, as well as the next few resolutions, are connected. This is an amendment with an agreement between Lewis County and it's an interagency agreement between Lewis County and the Resource Conservation Office, or RCO. So this agreement provides funding for Lewis County as well as the next 3 contracts to do work for the Flood Authority. So this will increase our dollar amount by $45,000, and also alters the timeline of services that we will cover for the Flood Authority to the end of February 2018. Any questions? Okay. Moving on. Connected to that last agenda item is Resolution 18-029. So this is a 4th supplemental agreement between Kramer Consulting and Lewis County. So Jim Kramer serves as the project manager to the Flood Authority. This agreement allows him to continue to do that work. We have the contract on behalf of the Flood Authority. This particular contract is modifying work, a resolution that was passed by this board in June. We were anticipating that the capital budget would pass. The Flood Authority gave us the direction to extend a contract for services for a contract period longer than what this one has established, and a dollar amount for more than what was actually available. So this contract reduces the period of performance from June 30th of 2019 to February 18th of 2018. And it also reduces the contract amount from $72,000 down to $5,024. Moving on, Resolution 18-030 is a 6th supplemental agreement between SBGH Partners and Lewis County. This is the work that Scott Betcher performs for the Flood Authority. Again, similar to the last contract, we're reducing the performance period from June 30th, 2019 to February 28th, 2018, and reducing the dollar amount from $173,000 down to $57,000, $57,600. And the next contract, last associated item, Resolution 18-031. This is a 7th supplemental agreement with French and Associates, who provide some floodplain management consulting for the Flood Authority. Again, this is clarifying the performance period from June 30th, 2019 to February 28th, 2018, and reducing the budget from $627,668 down to $542,668. Okay, that wraps up things related to the Flood Authority. Moving along. Resolution 18-032. Previously, the board authorized us to go out for bids, and this is a acceptance of the statement of qualifications and direction for me to start contracting with this particular firm. And the firm that we are selecting is Dowell. And this particular agenda item would authorize me to contract for on-call architect and engineering services for both Lewis County airports. Last agenda item for me, Resolution 18-033. Again, accepting a qualifications from Dow and authorizing the Director of Community Development to sign the professional services agreement, but this work is on-call planning services for both Lewis County airports.
Okay.
And that's it, unless there's questions.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the deliberation agenda, Resolution 18-015 through 18-033. Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we're moving into our hearings section of our agenda. I will call to order a hearing. We will first have a staff report, followed by a question and answer period. We will then close the question and answer period and open the hearing for formal testimony. And this is regarding hearing for the 5th 2017 budget amendment for current expense and other funds. We will be allowing 3 minutes for public testimony. And if there's any citizens that would like to testify, we have a sign-up sheet. Staff report. Who's going to start?
I'll start, Commissioner. Good morning, Commissioner. Steve Walton, Central Services Director, and Becky Butler, the Budget Manager, here with me today. Copies, as usual, of this amendment are over by the podium to our left. This hearing pertains to the recommendation to amend the 2017 budget as indicated in Resolution number 18-034. It is the 5th amendment to the 2017 budget. Notice of this public hearing was published in the Chronicle on January the 9th and the 16th of this year. The notice as published reflected an increase in the road fund in expenditures of $1 million and an increase in revenue of $400,000, resulting in a decrease in overall fund balance in the amount of $600,000. As typically is the case, subsequent to the notice being published, the need to amend other funds became necessary, resulting in changes in expenditures in the amount of $124,300 and an increase in revenue in the amount of $64,000. With these new changes incorporated, the total budget amendment reflects an increase in expenditures of $1,124,300, an increase in revenue in the amount of $464,000, resulting in a decrease in estimated ending fund balance in the amount of $660,300. The general fund portion of this amendment is a revenue increase of $4,000 and an increase in fund balance in the amount of $4,000. Becky will now go through the details.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the general fund, the only portion of the amendment is $4,000 increase in revenue from a transfer from the Crime Victim Witness Fund into the prosecutor's budget. For other funds, an increase in the roads fund for $1 million for costs associated with the Boisfort Emergent Scour Project and the 2017 debris removal. There was a revenue increase of $400,000 from FEMA and DOM. An increase of $4,000 for the transfer from Crime Victim Witness Fund to current expense as mentioned above. An increase of $300 for Debt Service Fund 209, and this was for treasurer fees. An increase of revenue and expenditures in the amount of $60,000 for solid waste for engineering services and crane maintenance repairs. And finally, an increase in the transfer out of Solid Waste Disposal District Number 1 for Fund 415 to Solid Waste Fund 401 for $60,000 for expenses mentioned above.
Are there any questions from the board?
Is this the final amendment for 2017?
I cannot guarantee that. We hope.
Let's hope.
Took a shot in the dark there.
We continue to watch as the year wraps up.
Do we have any people in the public area who would like to ask any questions? Seeing none, we'll close that. And staff, would you like your opening comments to be incorporated into the hearing?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So now public testimony. Did we have someone sign up? No. It looks like Colonel Averill has something to share with us. And Candace will sign you up.
Colonel Averill, Centralia area. You know, when we hear these budget figures, it sounds like there's always money going out of the door. And I just wanted to comment that on this particular cycle that we went through, that most of this is involving the other, not the general budget, but
Other funds.
but other funds. And I think the one thing that doesn't come clear through, and so every once in a while I get up and want to make sure that folks understand. This morning, we just received a bunch of money from public health and social services contracts, which were way out of cycle. I mean, we're going back and picking up in July, and expenditures have been going on. And we also are dealing with budgets that at the state level start in July, at the federal level start in October, and at the county level start in January. So there's money sitting in a pot. And when we talk about the fund balance on those other accounts, it's something that when you look long range, you'll see that these things are going to rectify themselves, and the stated loss is not as large as it might appear when we make this thing. So I just want to bring that to public's attention.
It doesn't help when you have 3 different ways of years. So like the state goes from July 1 to June 30th. The feds start October 1st through September 30th, and we start January 1st through December. So it's a balancing act. Okay, we will close the hearing for public testimony.
I move to approve Resolution 18-034 for the 5th 2017 budget amendment for current expense and other funds.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 18-034. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now, we're going to the hearing for proposed modifications to the Vader-Enchanted Valley Water System fee and rate schedule. Once again, we will first have a staff report, followed by a question and answer period. We will then close the question and answer period and open the hearing for formal testimony. And once again, we have 3 minutes for public testimony. And any folks that would like to sign up, there's a sign-up sheet at the podium. Staff report, Mr. Morton.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric Martin, Public Works Director. So this hearing is regarding proposed modifications to the Vader-Enchanted Valley Water System fee and rate schedule. And I believe I've placed copies of that new fee and rate schedule on your desks there that you can take a look at, and we should be able to bring it up on the monitor. Thank you, Candy. Basically, what we have here are changes to 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 different places on this schedule. 4 of those have to do with what usually happens when we have someone who has a late bill. So if they're delinquent with their bill, we need to then notify them that they need to pay their bill or their water will be shut off. There is a process for that. So we looked at how much that costs for someone to go out and do that, to go and turn the water back on if we do need to shut it off, and then also to look at just general service calls. And we saw that our rates were not reflective of what it actually cost us to do that work. So we raised those rates just to reflect what our actual costs are, not any additional monies on those.
We're not making money on them.
We're not making money. We're just breaking even now with these new fees. And again, those fees only apply to those who either have some kind of a service call need, which is very infrequent on our side of the meter, or to those who have delinquent charges on their bills. The last one is an increase in the capital improvement surcharge. And that basically is money that's added on to the bill, set aside for capital improvements. So, when we need to do construction, we need to replace big pieces of our system, we need to build a fund to do that. So that money is set aside for that purpose and that purpose only. The reason we put that in place last year, and it was $2.50 a month. And as we went through and needed to acquire some additional funding for our reservoir project, we got a grant/loan from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Part of the requirements for that kind of federal money is they do a comprehensive look at your financial system and how you're collecting money. And they came back with a recommendation that you need to collect at least $4 a month for the system that we have in place for capital improvements. And so as a requirement for that funding, we had to increase this rate to $4 per month. So it went up from $2.50 a month to $4 per month. And that's the only changes that we've made. We did go to, in December, we went to a Vader City Council meeting, and Commissioner Stamper and Betsy Dillon, who's our manager for the system, were there. And we proposed these rates to the City Council and to some members of the public that were there. And we did not receive any significant comments at that time. So these are for your consideration at this point.
Commissioners, any comments, questions?
No, I would just like to thank Eric and his staff, and especially Betsy for presenting. She was, now she has a baby, and I couldn't say for sure she wasn't going to have it that night. So I appreciate her professionalism and all the things that go along with it. And they've been very receptive. When you attend those meetings, they're very appreciative of the fact that we come down and there's lots of notice ahead of time and lots of preparation to prepare the council and the mayor and the citizens for this. So it's very much appreciated. I know that I particularly appreciate it too, for all your hard work and going an extra mile for this, for these things, because it does impact people, and so it's a really positive thing. So thank you and your staff.
Now we'd like to open the question and answer period for the public to ask any questions. Any questions out there? Okay, we will close the question and answer period. And Mr. Martin, would you like your opening comments to be incorporated into the hearing?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now we will open the hearing for public testimony. We have any other folks want to come up, even though you haven't signed in? All right. We will close the hearing for public testimony.
Okay. I make a motion to approve Resolution 18-305. That would be the hearing for proposed modification to the Vader-Enchanted water system fees and rate schedule.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 18-035, modifying the Vader-Enchanted Valley water system fee and rate schedule. Any other last comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So the third hearing of the day is a hearing to approve a rental agreement between Lewis County and Solid Waste District Disposal District Number 1 for the Central Transfer Station in Centralia, and authorizing signatures. All right. And we, once again, if anybody wants to speak, 3 minutes. And you should sign up on the sheet that we have there at the podium. Now we'll move to staff report.
Good morning, Commissioners. Eric Martin, Public Works Director again. And so I'll just make a comment that according to RCW 3634-160, the public must be allowed to comment on this agreement, and that's why we're having the hearing today. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve Skinner, who's our solid waste manager, and he's going to give you a little bit of background on the agreement, and then let you know what the new agreement says.
Good morning, Commissioners. Steve Skinner with the Department of Public Works Solid Waste Division. So this is to approve or renew the existing rental agreement, and it's between Lewis County and the Solid Waste Disposal District Number 1 of Lewis County. And this is for the Central Transfer Station that is located at 1411 South Tower Avenue in Centralia. Excuse me. These agreements, or this rental agreement, began in 1994 when the transfer station first opened. That original agreement was for 10 years and expired in 2012. It was renewed in 2013 for another 5-year period. It went through 2018, and now it has expired again. And the current agreement that we have before you will be for another 5 years, and it will expire on December 31st, 2022, at which time we'll have to bring everything forward again. And I think, and like Eric said, the RCW that just states it's allowed for public comment for hearings. So if there's any other questions anybody has, I can gladly review those again or go over and answer any questions.
Just one more comment just for the record, and that the agreement is in the amount of $51,000 per month.
Board members, any questions?
This is the same rate that we've had since, what was the date on that?
The original, it changed it, in 1994, it was 38,700, and in 2009, it went up to 51,000, and that is the same rate, yes.
Thank you.
I'd like to open up the question and answer period for the public to ask questions. Mr. Averill.
Colonel Averill, Lewis, from Centralia area again. I don't think the public quite understands who are we renting to, and you know, what is this transfer of funds? Why are we renting? I think if they understand how that goes, it'll be helpful.
So the county had funds and issued bonds for a couple of projects back in '94 that built the central transfer station. And so the district is a separate quasi-municipal entity, but does not maintain or hold any assets. The county is the owner of that transfer station and, like I said, issued the bonds. So therefore, the district rents that from the county and pays that $51,000 monthly rental rate.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. I will close the question and answer period. Staff, would you like your opening comments to be incorporated into the hearing?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we will open the hearing for public testimony. And we have no one who signed up. Anyone out there would like to last minute sign up? All right, we will close the hearing.
I move to approve Resolution 18-036, which is a rental agreement between Lewis County and the Solid Waste Disposal District Number 1 for the Central Transfer Station in Centralia and authorizing signatures thereon.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 18-036. Any other last comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we move to the last hearing of the day, and it's to approve a rental agreement between Lewis County and Solid Waste Disposal District Number 1 for the East Lewis County Transfer Station in Morton and authorizing signatures.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yeah.
Eric Martin, Director of Public Works. So similar to the last hearing, this is a rental agreement where the disposal district pays the county rent for this facility. And again, according to RCW 3634-160, the public must be allowed to comment on this agreement. And with that, I will turn it over again to Mr. Skinner, who's our solid waste manager.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Steve Skinner, Lewis County Solid Waste Manager for the Department of Public Works. And again, this is to approve or renew another rental agreement between Lewis County and the Solid Waste Disposal District for the East Lewis County Transfer Station. That's the one that's at 6745 US Highway 12 in Morton. This rental agreement is a little bit later than the other, and it didn't start until it was in 1996, excuse me. And that one was for the same thing. It was for a 5-year period, expired in 2012. It was renewed 2013, expired in 2018. And the current agreement would be for another 5 years, and that would expire December 31st, 2022. And the same thing, the Morton Transfer Station was built and funded and financed by the county back in 1978. It was a joint agreement with Department of Ecology. Some of Ecology's funds were used, but most of it was the county. So the county owns that facility, and the disposal district rents that facility to carry on the solid waste collection and transportation disposal of those. And the amount of this rental agreement that we're speaking now is $1,859.00, and that is a monthly rate.
Any questions from the board? All right, we will move to the public. Do you have any questions you'd like to ask? We'll close the question and answer period. Staff, would you like your opening comments to be incorporated into the hearing?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yes, thank you.
Now we're opening the hearing for public testimony. And we have no one that signed up. Is there anyone out there that has some last-minute thoughts? I will close the hearing for public testimony.
Okay. I make a motion to approve Resolution 18-037. That was the rental agreement between Lewis County Solid Waste District Number 1 for the East Lewis County Transfer Station in Morton, and authorizing signatures.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 18-037. Last comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Good of the order.
This past Friday was a busy day for me. Met with our new Twin Transit Executive Director, Derek Wojcik-Demers. Great guy, a Lewis County guy. He was living in Colorado for a number of years and worked in transit there. He wanted to move back to this area. He's a 1993 graduate of WF West High School. So he's got some family connections here, and he loves this area, and it's a good thing because knowledge of this area is going to be very important to him as we are working to move forward on a possible countywide transit system. We met with Nelson Nygaard on Friday, who's been conducting our study. They gave us some very good positive information. We're very excited about being able to move forward. Also, discussions were held about Lewis Mountain Transit and some of the work that we're going to get done there in order to make sure that that transit system stays in place. And Commissioner Stamper, I know, is very familiar with the organization up there, and I just wanted to comment, Commissioner, I had no idea until Doug sent me numbers just exactly how many people they service, how many routes they run. They run a number of routes down here into the Twin Cities and beyond. There was a story that was shared with me about a lady that had to ride a bicycle at 2 a.m. in the morning to get to the bus in time so that she could make a 9 o'clock appointment in this area on this side of the county. And she did that by riding one of the buses with Lewis Mountain Transit. So this is a very important system over on the east side. We want to do everything we can to make sure that they can continue to operate and operate even more efficiently as we move forward. So a lot of work is being done there. And then on Friday afternoon, I took a tour of the jail with Chief Sweet, and I believe it's Chief, is it Tawes? Yes. Chief Tawes, the jail administrator, I believe. And it was a fascinating tour. I got to come face to face with a lot of the things that they deal with over there on a daily basis. And when you pass out of, I believe it's this, Colonel, you can help me with this, a 2005 building into the 1985 building, it's quite a dramatic change. And you can see a lot of the wear and tear over there and how there's been a number of upgrades that have had to have been made and other future plans for us at the jail. So I just want to commend our Sheriff's Department, our jail staffing, Chief Sweet, and all of his staff. They do a fine job over there. It runs very, very well. And I was amazed at all of the procedures and the processes that they go through in order to maintain order and to run a very efficient jail, which I'm proud to say that Lewis County services an awful lot of other counties in this state because of our efficiency and our ability to take care of the friends that we have in other sheriff's offices. So a busy Friday, but a productive Friday. I really enjoyed that tour and look forward to taking even more down the line as Eric Martin and I like to take road trips and crisscross the county, and we need to get another one set up. So there's a lot to learn about Lewis County, and I'm glad that we've got the ability to do that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a follow-up on Commissioner Jackson's comments on especially the transportation issue. I was an administrator up in White Pass for, over 6.5 years, I guess, whatever it was. And I learned a lot. And because my home is Mossy Rock, but, you're about 40 miles, another 40 miles east before you get to the White Pass School District or the buildings. And traveling around there was a gentleman at the Randall's convenience store there, and I saw he had a suitcase. And so I was going into the store anyway, and I started talking to him, and once a month, and I have to admit I'd never seen him there before, but once a month, he catches the transit bus from there and rides it into this train station, and then takes a train down to see his sister down in Portland. And he was doing that once a month. So, and I know it's, you know, for us, it's we get in our car and we drive to Portland, most of us. But that's not the way it is for a lot of people. And I'm not talking specifically even in up at the East End. I know, and you know, you probably got the same scenario in Vader, and I'm sure you have the same scenario at NPL. So this would be a monumental program, and I think it would serve the needs. And I know that I appreciate Commissioner Jackson's hard work on this, and we're going to be working on this and getting the word out and moving this forward. So thank you, and the rest of the commissioners too for the understanding.
This weekend, I went to the Lewis County Chaplaincy fundraiser, and I received more personally from them than my donation. I gained a real understanding about how important our chaplains are to our county when we have people in distress. There was a mother of 4 children who talked about 3 years ago, down over by Cispus, her young son was like 5 years old, riding a small little motorcycle, very safely, they said, but for some unknown reason, traveled outside the area where they were riding their bikes and went into the river. The father jumped in and tried to rescue their son, and he almost was taken away, and he was a big man. He's like 6'7" gentleman, and was being taken down the river. And there was a wife and other children. She jumped in, and this is cold river. And a chaplain was there to stay with them and to talk with them. And the person had been a fireman before, but took them through the steps. At first, they thought it was going to be a rescue operation, and they went through that. Then it was into a recovery operation. And the chaplain stayed with them, brought food in, kept the other children busy with some other volunteers. And that mother said they could never have made it through that time. And she also said she remembers the officer who finally located her son's body like 2 days later, bringing him out of there, and she said he did it with the utmost respect. Here was this little boy who was a very big boy for his age, about 100 pounds, and brought him up, and he had died. And it was very difficult. She says, I thank that gentleman for treating my son with such respect. And she said, Lewis County, she just can't believe all the outpouring of love, and it all came through those volunteer chaplains. They're out there for us, and they don't get any pay for it. They don't get travel money. They don't get their food paid for. They're out there. And this lady from Pierce County said, you know, she just appreciates what happens in Lewis County and how we have volunteers that help people out in such emergencies. So, all right.
Did she mention the Officer Commissioner Fund?
She did, but I found out it was a different name.
Okay.
I will get that name. Danny Reardon, yes. I think it was Danny Reardon that one of the chaplains told me yesterday. It was the officer that brought him out. Okay, we'll go to the order now to the press conference. So do we have any questions from the press? Justina? Oh, yes, please. Ms. York.
Danette York, Director of Lewis County Public Health and Social Services. I just wanted to make a statement that I'm hoping to get the information out there widespread, and that is all of us know that the federal government technically shut down. Our Women, Infants, and Children Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program is federally funded. So this is the program where mothers and pregnant women and children up to the age of 5 receive vouchers for nutritious food. That program is not going to be affected by this shutdown. The funding is already appropriated and set aside for that, so we're trying to get the word out that if clients have already scheduled appointments or need appointments, please contact our office and keep those appointments because we will still be open.
Thank you
Thank
for that
you.
information.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any comments from the board under the press section?
With no further business?
Whoops, I was going to say something, so sorry. I could not be
Need to put let's
overjoyed
pull
to
a bell
have
on
the capital budget passed. So now all those projects with the flooding, the China Creek project near and dear to Ron Averill and I and a number of other people, and the schools and the $1.5 million for Winlock, that has all been passed. So we're jumping for joy there. We're also jumping for joy that the Hearst bill was passed. We're currently evaluating that bill, but it's pretty monumentous when that was passed. We've never had such a bill that if one wasn't passed, the other one wouldn't at such magnitude, because that capital budget funds a lot of different projects throughout the state. And I understand, like our school project in Chehalis, because of the delay in getting things moving on that, it probably will increase their cost by $1 million. So this was a very important bill to be passed. So we will continue to go to the legislature and talk about Lewis County issues. We had the Legislative Steering Committee meet with 3 legislators last week and once again talked about indigent defense and jail medical, and also passed out again our unfunded and unfunded mandate document that Becky Butler and the directors and the electeds put together. So, Mr. Averill.
Thank you. Once again, Ron Averill from Lewis County area. I had attended the Republican Party State Committee meeting this past weekend, and Jim Walsh, who represents the 19th District in the legislature, talked to us about the actions on both the Hearst decision and the capital budget. And there are some interesting aspects of it. One of the things that folks don't know or some may not understand, is that the reason the capital budget was not passed was because the legislature would not make a decision on the Hearst decision. At least the House of Representatives wouldn't. At that time, there was a Senate proposal, but not a House proposal. And the capital budget takes a 60% majority in order to pass. So as a result, the Hearst decision, which is so important to rural Washington, the Republicans laid the gauntlet down and said that they were going to hold on that Hearst decision. We do have a new Hearst decision, and it is the result of compromise, so there are some things in it that we like, and there are some things in it that we don't like. It's interesting to me that the governor signed the bill in camera, which means in secret. He did not hold the normal signature opening on that particular bill. And the reason for that is that many of the tribes wanted that bill to fail. And there was an agreement between the Democratic leadership that the governor would sign it if the Democratic leadership signed the bill. So that's how it got out. It does have some things in it, I think, that are worthy of watching. As you know, the issue was groundwater and the impact that groundwater has potentially on surface waters and things of this nature. The exempt wells
in the state of Washington allow for 5,000 gallons a day. Depending upon where you lived, that $5,000 gallons a day is going down to 900 gallons or to 3,000 gallons. And there's a metering aspect of it, which is of concern to those of us in Western Washington, because once you get meters on ground wells, then the next issue comes to does the state start asking you to pay for your water usage? So that's
It's in the back of their minds.
Yeah, we have a Hearst bill, but there are some kinks in it, and it's worthy of watching. The other aspect is that the capital budget, there are some minor changes, and there'll be a supplemental that'll come out during this session as well. But as we passed in here three resolutions regarding the flood authority and contracts where we reduced funds because we didn't have them.
Too.
Fortunately, I'm happy to say that because we got the full 60 million, the 50 million from the state, the 10 from the federal government, that we'll be able to renegotiate those contracts and we'll get that money back.
Good news. One last thing, those of you who are watching us online, and we had a meeting of an hour and 10 minutes, I want to remind you that we have meetings throughout the week, and you can go onto our website and you can find the list of meetings and you can sit in and listen and talk, and you can hear our deliberations. So I would encourage folks out there to do that to get a real complete view of county government.
With no further business, I move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
You are invited to immerse yourself in the beauty of nature in all four corners of Lewis County, Washington. From our fields to your table, farms in the west share their bounty. Limitless landscapes, forests and mountains beg to be explored in the east. Fish our many rivers and lakes in the south, and discover where history and culture intersect in our twin cities. Explore it all by visiting our Facebook page and plan your next getaway at discoverlewiscounty.com. Culture, history, and adventure all come alive when you discover Lewis County.